Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Senate Committee on Education and Health. Clerk, please call the roll.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. This morning we have 25 House bills on the docket, and each of the bills on the docket today fall into three categories. So first, we will address three House bills that will be directly re-referred to another committee. And then next, we will address House bills that are identical to Senate bills that were previously heard in this committee, and we will vote on each of these bills individually. And generally, in this category, we do not need to hear directly from the patrons on these, but we will allow patrons to address the committee should the bill have some kind of a roadblock or concern or issue. So certainly welcome our House patrons to stay with us to make sure their bill goes through properly. And then the last category, we're going to address House bills that are similar but not identical to Senate bills that were previously heard in this committee as well. The Council will briefly review the differences between the House bills and the Senate bill, and we will vote individually on each of those bills, whether to conform the House bill to the Senate or vice versa. Again, we would welcome comments from the patrons should there be any questions from the committee. So the first bill that we have in front of us is HB 150, patroned by Delegate Helmer, and we are going to re-refer this to the Committee on Rehab and Social Services. Is there a motion on the floor?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we re-refer HB 150 to Rehab and Social Services. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 12, no 0.
Thank you. HB 150 has been re-referred. The next bill is HB 550, patroned by Delegate Walker, and this bill will be re-referred to Rehab and Social Services.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 11, no 0, 1 abstention.
HB 550 has been re-referred to Rehab and Social Services. Next on the docket is HB 1165, patroned by Delegate Sickles, and that too is going to be re-referred to Rehab and Social Services.
So moved. Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 12, no 0.
Thank you. HB 1165 has been re-referred. Next, we are going to take a look at House bills that are identical to the Senate bills, and the first is HB 48, patroned by Delegate Helmer. This is similar to SB 46, patroned by Senator Van Valkenburg, and it reported out of this committee. And is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Clerk, please open the roll.
You have my proxy. Okay.
Yes.
She just voted.
Ayes 13, no 0.
Thank you. HB 48 reports out. HB 225, patroned by Delegate Sickles, is identical to SB 22, patroned by Senator Locke, which we reported out of this committee. If we are reporting this bill, it will also be re-referred to Finance. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 225 be reported and re-referred to Finance. Clerk, open the roll, please.
Ayes 13, no 0.
HB 225 reports and is re-referred to Finance. Next on the docket is HB 291, patroned by Delegate Cherry. And this bill is identical to SB 24, patroned by It's been moved and seconded that HB 291 reports. Clerk, open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
Thank you. HB 291 reports. Next on the docket is HB 314, patroned by Delegate Hope, and is identical to SB 179. If we report, it will be re-referred to Finance. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 314 and re-refer to Finance. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
HB 314 reports and is re-referred to Finance. Now, HB 366 is slightly different than our Senate bill. Our Senate bill was at SB 219 and patroned by Senator Sturdivant. That bill was continued in Senate Finance for 2025. Council, can you please explain the difference between the two bills?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The difference between the two bills is that HB 366 in the House Committee on Appropriations was reported out with an amendment from the House Committee on Appropriations that strikes the word "and fees" in line 19. This was an amendment made to reduce the fiscal impact. And so then that line at line 19, referring to the amount of grant for which eligible students would be eligible, is the difference between the full cost of tuition and any other educational benefits, whereas SB 219 would say the full cost of tuition and fees.
So, committee members, you've heard the difference. HB 366, as it went through House Appropriations, reduced the fiscal impact, which our Senate bill did not do. What is the will of the committee on this bill?
That's it.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Unless you desperately wish to speak, Delegate Reed?
No, I'm just here if you have questions.
Thank you. The motion on the floor is to report HB 366 and re-refer to Finance. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
Thank you. HB 366 reports and is re-referred to Finance. Next on the docket is HB 647, patroned by Delegate Coiner. This is identical to SB 624, Senator Lucas's bill, which we reported. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move the report.
It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 647. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
Thank you. HB 647 reports. Next is HB 649, identical to SB 325, patroned by Senator Rome. Is there a motion? Second. It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 649. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
Thank you. HB 649 reports. Next is HB 729, patroned by Delegate Sickles, identical to SB 620, patroned by Senator Pillion. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 729. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
HB 729 reports. Next is HB 731, patroned by Delegate Sewell, identical to SB 702, patroned by Senator Subramaniam. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 739. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
HB 739 reports. Next is HB 1044, patroned by Delegate Rasool, and identical to SB 159, patroned by Senator Boysko. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we report HB 1044. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
HB 1044 reports. Next is HB 1130, patroned by Delegate Hayes, identical to SB 35, patroned by Senator Locke. If we report, it will be re-referred to Finance.
Move the bill be reported and re-referred to finance.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 1130 report and is re-referred to Finance. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 12, no zero, one abstention.
Thank you. HB 1130 reports and is re-referred to Finance. Next is HB 1317, patroned by Delegate Cole and identical to SB 443, patroned by Senator Durant. Is there a motion?
Move the bill be reported.
It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 1317. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
HB 1317 reports. Next is HB 1333, identical to SB 111, patroned by Senator Peake. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 1333 report. Clerk, please open the roll.
I got it.
Ayes 13, no zero.
Thank you. 1333 has reported. We are now on page 7. We're now on page 7, and these are House bills that are similar but not identical to Senate bills. The first on the docket is HB 188, similar to SB 154, patroned by Senator Head. Council, will you please explain the differences?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only difference is that SB 154 includes a second and third enactment clause, and House Bill 188 has no final enactment clauses. The second and third enactment clauses direct the Department of Health to amend the Advanced Healthcare Planning Registry regulations to, respectively, A, include advanced healthcare planning documentation in the list of documents that may be submitted to the registry pursuant to the provisions of the bill, and B, allow licensed healthcare providers access to the registry for the purpose of collecting advanced healthcare planning information. Otherwise, the bills are identical.
Thank you, Council. Committee members, you've heard the differences between the Senate and the House bills. Is there a motion or is there any discussion on these?
Madam
Senator
Chair.
Head, would you like to address?
Could we conform this to the Senate bill as an amendment?
There is a motion. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second that we conform HB 188 to SB 154. Any discussion from committee? Seeing none, and you've addressed with a patron. Seeing no discussion, clerk will please open the roll.
Yeah, we did.
Oh. It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the substitute for HB 188. Everyone in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Any oppositions? The substitute has been adopted. Let us now vote on HB 188 with the substitute. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Thank you. HB 188 reports with substitute. Next is HB 353, patroned by Delegate Hope, similar to SB 392, patroned by Senator Pekarsky. Council, will you please explain the differences?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only differences between the two bills is that SB 392 has a delayed effective date of January 1st, 2025, while HB 353 has a delayed effective date of July 1st, 2025.
Thank you. And it's my understanding that Senator Pekarsky, you wish to accept the July 1, 2025 date that's in the House bill.
Correct, Madam Chair.
So there are no changes that are necessary to HB 353. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move to report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 353 be reported and re-referred to Finance. Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Thank you. HB 353 reports and is re-referred to Finance. Next is HB 355, patroned by Delegate Cole, and similar to SB 441, patroned by Senator Durant. Council, will you please explain the differences?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The differences primarily are that SB 441 requires that the response be issued by the school board within 10 business days, while HB 355 uses the word working days. Additionally, SB 441 had eliminated the requirement for providing written verification to more simply and generally just require that the school board respond. And this was to improve the ease of response and as well as response time. And then finally, more generally, this did result in more changes to the actual wording, but what this revision essentially amounts to is that SB 441 requires that the response to employment verification be provided within this time frame only when such verification is sought by another school board for a former employee of the school board, and HB 355 does not contain that clarification that it must be sought by another school board.
Thank you, Council. And Senator Durant, do you wish to address the differences between this bill and the House bill?
Madam Chair, I must apologize. I just got in from presenting another bill, so I did not hear the differences between the two. My apologies.
That is okay. Any comments or concerns from the committee members? I will just address what I would like to see in the bill. I do like the fact that SB 441 includes the identification of 10 business days, as well as the language of requiring verification when it's sought by another school board. However, HB 355's recommendation that the information be provided through written verification is also preferred. So we'll have to do a few gymnastics to get the two bills in the right posture. Is there a motion to?
I guess, Madam Chair.
We will let Senator Durant address.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I was just going over with Legislative Services about, so it's my understanding the House version strikes the verification that was. Yeah, and. The House version keeps. So yours will allow them to respond at like each. Okay, all right.
I suppose that we can form.
I do too.
Yeah.
355 to
I will second that motion.
441.
With the understanding that the two patrons will work out the small differences of the written verification.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
There is a motion that we substitute HB 355 with SB 441. It's been moved and seconded. Is there all in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? HB 355 has been conformed to SB 441. Is there a motion now?
Move that the reconform bill be
Move we report.
That was I was saying, Barbara, if you would just give me time to finish my words.
Is there a second? The motion is that HB 355 report as substituted. Clerk, please open the roll.
My fingers are cold.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Thank you. HB 355 reports as substituted. Next is HB 462. This is similar to SB 474, patroned by Senator Obenshain. Council, can you please explain the differences?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The primary difference is that SB 474 reported out of Senate Finance and Appropriations with a substitute that switched the program for which it's clarifying that the joint or regional schools are eligible to use grants for renovations and construction for career and technical education building and facilities from the Virginia Public School Construction Grants Program and Fund to the School Construction Fund and Program, while HB 462 keeps it in that original program, which was the Virginia Public School Construction Grants Program and Fund. And this change was made in Senate Finance, and it was primarily because the School Construction Fund and Program is set up such that part of the funding for these grants comes from the revenues from the Gaming Proceeds Fund. So essentially the casino tax revenues help to fund it. So essentially that was a fiscal decision. Otherwise, both bills still retain that same intention of clarifying that joint or regional schools are eligible to receive grants through this program for funding, and they're eligible to use those grant funds for renovations and facilities for buildings and facilities used for career and technical education programs.
Madam Chair, I move to conform his to Senator Obenshain's, and I think he was in agreement with that, and then they'll work it out. Is that okay?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 462 be substituted with SB 474 and re-referred to Finance. Clerk, please open the roll. I'm sorry, we needed to adopt the substitute first. All in favor of adopting the substitute, please say aye.
Aye.
The substitute has been adopted, and now the motion is in front of us, and
Ayes 15, no zero.
thank you. HB 462 has been reported as substituted and re-referred to Finance. Next bill is HB 498, patroned by Delegate Cohen, and similar to SB 225, patroned by Senator Pekarsky. Senator Pekarsky, would you like to address the differences between the two bills?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe the only differences, and I will let Delegate Cohen confirm this, is that there is a requirement for an SMS message of the notification to go out to parents in my bill, and hers says, I think, when available or when practicable, if applicable.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Delegate Cohen, that's the only difference, as I understand it, is the language of if applicable on line 48.
It is. It was a friendly amendment from from Delegate Cherry.
Thank you. Is there a motion on this bill? And with the understanding, Senator Pekarsky, that you will conform your bill then to HB?
Fine to do that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that HB 498 report as is. Clerk will open the roll.
Ayes 9, no 6.
HB 498 reports. Next bill is HB 409, also patroned by Delegate Cohen and similar to SB 21, patroned by Senator Salim. Now, our bill went through a few changes. Council, will you explain those differences?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So SB 21 after it was recommitted to Education and Health, reported out of Education and Health with a substitute that changes the bill into a Section 1 bill directing SHEV to conduct a study on the processes by which public institutions of higher education determine a student's eligibility for accommodations, and to make recommendations on reducing any barriers in such processes to establishing eligibility. HB 509 is identical to that first substitute that initially passed out of Committee on Education and Health prior to being recommitted. However, as a result of that second substitute for SB 21, which is what ultimately passed the Senate, the two bills are significantly different.
Thank you. And Delegate Cohen, it's my understanding that you have a substitute to present to us and that your bill is now essentially identical to SB 21 with one small addition that you're adding another organization to the stakeholder group, and that you and Senator Salim have already reached agreement on this substitute. Am I correct in that?
Yes, Senator.
So we have a substitute in front of us for HB 509. Is there a motion?
Substitute?
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the substitute. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? HB 509 as substitute is in front of us. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move the report.
It's been moved and seconded that we report HB 509 with substitute. All in favor, clerk will open the roll.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Thank you. HB 509 reports with substitute. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, would you just allow me to say one thing?
Yes.
I just want to thank you all for doing that work early and not putting these bills in conference. As much as that we can do, it's great for everybody. So just want to say thank you for getting that work done early.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Senator Bagby, and thank you, Delegate Cohen and Senator Salim. Next is HB 1076, patroned by Delegate Rasool, and similar to SB 435, patroned by Senator Suderline. I don't know if we need counsel to explain or patron to explain or Suderline to explain. Delegate, if you'd like to explain your...
I accept the Senate version.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
Move to conform.
It's been moved and seconded that HB 1076 be substituted with SB 435. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We now have the substitute in front of us. Is there a motion? It's been moved and seconded that HB 1076 report as substituted. Clerk will please open the roll.
I didn't vote for it before.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
Thank you. HB 1076 reports as substituted. Next is HB 1336, patroned by Delegate Sickles, and similar to our SB 568, patroned by Senator Deeds. Counsel, will you please explain the differences?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are only two technical differences between the bills. In line 135 and 352, House Bill 1336 amends existing code language to replace schedule with the plural schedules in reference to schedules 2 through 5 prescriptions and schedules 2 through 6 controlled substances. SB 568 does not amend this existing code language and thus still uses the singular schedule in both places.
Thank you, Counsel. And it's my understanding that schedules, as written in HB 1336, is grammatically preferable. So shall we leave HB 1336 as is? Is there a motion?
Okay. Do you want me to report HB 1336?
Thank you. It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that HB 1336 report. Clerk will please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Thank you. HB 1336 reports. Our final bill on the docket today is HB 1504, patroned by Delegate Siebold, and similar to SB 498, patroned by Senator Carol Foy. And Council, will you explain the differences?
Yes, Madam Chair, the major difference between the two is that House Bill 1504 significantly narrows the scope of the bill. It essentially eliminates what were subsections A through C in Senate Bill 498, so that now it only consists of what was, I believe, subsection C in Senate Bill 498, which is the subsection that simply requires the board to establish guidelines for schools-connected overdose response and parental notification policies, and therefore does not require or reference any actual implementation of those policies or any notification by the school boards.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or a motion from committee?
Move to conform it to Carol Foy's.
I will second that.
Delegate Siebold, did you wish to make a comment?
No, whatever. Okay. I'm here if you have any questions. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second that HB 1504 conform to SB 498. All in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Now we have a motion to report. It's been moved and seconded that HB 1504, as substituted, be reported. Clerk will please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Thank you. HB 1504 reports with substitute, and that is the end of our docket. We do have our subcommittee on public education that will be meeting at its regular time this afternoon. Patrons have been notified, and apart from that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
The Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.